team, we talked and contracted with a number of folks. Actual, like really badass professionals in the field. Compiler LA is a super small data firm in Los Angeles run by folks that are extremely civically engaged through the Hack for LA network. And we worked with them to carry out the API work that we needed to do to pull polygons and different records, and they helped us with some of the initial mapping. That's us in one of our initial brainstorming sessions. That is not usually what government offices look like. Huge whiteboards, people hanging out in jeans and t-shirts and having coffee and laughing. That's not the usual environment that government operates in. So for this type of work to be successful, I encourage you all, if you do work within large bureaucracies, corporations, academia, government, take people out of their environment and put them in the more open, creative space. That's something we've learned really works to help our work stay sustainable. It gets them on your team and gets them excited. If you are on Twitter, @ShamelGram, she's my team's director, incredible human being, super smart, very driven. I encourage you to follow her. Some other folks that we worked with to help carry out this work. Bloomberg Philanthropies, it's an effort out of former New York Mayor Bloomberg. What they do is they basically deploy innovation teams to different cities across the country and internationally. They have a team in Jerusalem, and they tackle super specific business problems. Very specific, they carry that out. They have a trained data scientist at I Got Charts. This dude loves data so much, he just makes visualizations in his free time, and so I Got Charts is his blog. I encourage you to follow him, Alex Pudlin. He's been an incredible resource for me, not being a trained data scientist. We also leverage the mayor's data team. Lillian Corral is our LA's chief data officer. I believe one of the few Latinas that holds that title. She runs an incredible, agile, and highly skilled team at El Corral. Also our city controller, Juan Lopez, he runs tech and innovation for the city controller. We use their open data portals and some of their mapping resources. A few other folks, the Department of General Services, LA County GIS, General Assembly, which is an alternative education course. All this to say, this type of work, it's impossible for one person to do it. It's impossible for one team, one small team to do it. You need engagement at all levels. You need buy-in at all levels. You need support and knowledge and resources from across sectors. One note on General Assembly, because I'm not a trained data scientist or even really a true computer practitioner, I would encourage you all to check out General Assembly. They offer courses nights and weekends, full and part-time for those trying to grow their skill set, to transition into more technical careers. They've been incredible just way to get more comfortable with this type of subject matter. And so I can step into rooms and at least pretend like I'm not talking about long enough for people to do the thing I'm into. So what do we do once we finished layering and mapping and merging and we knew this was the data set that represented LA's real estate portfolio? Well, government has this thing where they either want to go enterprise-wide and institute multi-million-dollar systems off the bat, or they want to build their own solutions, which, as you know, that can be increasingly difficult to maintain. If you lose the person that built it, that configured it, it can be super costly. It also makes it really tough for that technology to stay up to date with industry trends. So we went with eProperty Plus. It's an off-the-shelf solution. Number of municipalities use it, mostly to dispose of land. We were the first city to use it to manage and really to impact operations. There's a team of us that are pushing the city towards open source. We know there are open source tools that could help with this. Again, maintenance becomes a really big issue, which is why I encourage cities and governments to marry third-party solutions and open source efforts so that they can contribute to their civic tech community. Open source, it's growing in importance for governments, and so we try to prioritize that. So I talked about tables and lists. This is what the back end of the system now looks like. So instead of making decisions off a PDF saved out from a list, we have polygons. Does anybody any geospatial folks using polygons in your work? Handful of people? Excellent. This is super important because if a city council member asks us, hey, I need a place to put affordable housing units, maybe if it's a long strip, that's not going to work. If it's a circle or if it's all kinds of funkiness, that's going to increase cost dramatically. Through polygons, we get a sense of the actual shape of the real estate asset. It also allows for just better decision making. So that's one key thing. Also, I'll point out, we now have standards, and we have parcel number as our de facto unique identifier. We use that structure because it's the closest thing we have. From the research we've done, there is no perfect unique identifier for real estate. So LA County assessor parcel numbers are 10 characters. That's just what we're using. If sometimes there's some funkiness where you have multiple structures on top of one parcel, we just add a 3-digit extension to that. But now we have a unique identifier. We also have hierarchies and standards. We have a sense of who manages what. I'll talk a little bit about city hierarchy and infrastructure in a little bit. But this, just moving people away from lists to maps, has created an incredible amount of efficiencies and time. But one of the things that has really resonated with me in the work that we've been doing is that people within the city were looking at real estate in a vacuum. They were saying, what do we own and where? And okay, here's a lot in the area that I needed, so I'm just gonna go with that. And to me that felt irresponsible, because real estate exists within the context of a community, and so being fully aware of what's around the community became super important. geohub.lacity.org, this runs up Esri technology. This is, I highly encourage you all to check this out. If you all have worked with any of your local governments, incredible tool. And what it does is it allows us to host a number of shapefiles and public data sets that are out there for public consumption. You can download them as shapefiles, as JSON files. They have API integrations, and it ranges from where are the parks to where are the libraries to seismic information. So I spent a day going through the hundreds of data sets that the city published to its GeoHub. In this example, mental health centers. Well, homelessness is a really big problem in Los Angeles. We're the homeless capital of the nation, the world in some narratives. If we're talking about finding a site where we can build transitional or permanent housing for a homeless community, does the proximity to mental health centers and homelessness centers, should that not be part of the discussion? Would you not rather put a site for folks struggling with homelessness across the street from a service provider or from a mental health center, as opposed to 3 miles away? These things matter. That's where the context that we're trying to bring in. So on the left side, what you're seeing is the shapefile from the GeoHub, and then on the right side, this is the back end of eProperty Plus that the city folks have access to. And these are all of the 25 community layers that we brought in. So here we're seeing a number of properties in relation to the homeless shelters and services that are by them, and then also the mental health centers. Just one anecdote or way that we're using this. I've also learned, by the way, if anybody's interested, it seems like the ideal size for transitional housing for homelessness is 5,000 to 25,000 square feet. So things we're learning. I know we're coming up on the 20-minute mark, so I'll start wrapping up. This is what most of the city infrastructure looks like. As we're rolling out the systems, these are all of the people that I'm training on a regular basis on how to use the system. Notice that the circles kind of congregate up top. It's very important to have buy-in from the elected officials. So I'm sitting down with them, doing active trainings on how to use the system. I built a miniature video library using Jing, which is a screencast type software that I can just record my clicks and it'll record my voice. So that's something we make available to the different departments and council offices as we train them. There's a public portal component that comes with this. Having access and transparency is really important. That's what it looks like. It will be live at data.lacity.org/property. It's not yet live. It offers the public some back-end type search functionality like the back-end does. Here's one example of that. It's identifying properties in Council District 14, that's where I live. Narrative and storytelling is super important. It's why I'm wearing my I am an immigrant t-shirt, and why I do it anytime I have a speaking engagement, because I am an immigrant, I'm from Colombia originally, and telling my story is just as important as telling LA's story. And so we use the GeoHub to build a story map, which basically provides storytelling and analysis. This is one way we're creating buy-in for our system. And what are we going to do next? We're going to keep training people. We're going to fully release the public portal so that everybody can engage and help us clean data. We will continue to standardize, we'll continue to validate, we'll continue to expand the data collected, and most importantly, we're analyzing the talent pipeline, because right now we know we lack the technical skill set to keep growing this type of work. So these are some of the things that we'll be doing. I think that gets us to, man, that formatting is driving me crazy. That's it. Thank you all for your ears and your attention. I hope this is valuable. We have some minutes for Q&A. Any questions or thoughts? Yes, sorry.
Yeah, what other data can this provide? Like yours obviously shows like visualize the real estate of a particular area. Like for example, you were showing the mental counseling center. Can you also is it also possible to show like how much the property will cost if you want to actually build it, or also what the like, operating hour and all that?
Yeah, it would be
kind of like Google Maps merged with the systems you developed.
Yeah, it reflects also the funding source, which is really important in deciding if a city has a property because of a particular grant or pot of money. If we dispose of it, sometimes those grants have implication as to where the money goes back to. It also provides information on square footage for a structure. We're transitioning to a more permanent asset management system. We'll speak to like lease information and financial projections. So some examples. Does that answer your question?
Almost. Can it also tell you where you can find good parking as well? Because obviously on Google Maps, you have to drive a certain distance to get to a particular parking garage. Since it's practically real estate visualization. Yeah, it'll create a radius around specific assets so I can look for things. As far as parking goes, no, it's a problem in LA we're all trying to fix and the system doesn't do that. We're getting there though. A lot of folks are using APIs and open data portals to tackle that. Yes?
Is there another city that's already doing this well that you're looking to for insights and advice?
New York City, they have the New York Economic Development. They have transitioned real estate operations outside of government. So they use government input to drive the real estate decisions, but they have actual real estate experts doing that. We've also consulted with organizations like a few universities in the area that use the systems. Detroit, who had an incredible and still has a very difficult real estate situation, but New York's definitely the best model so far we've seen.
Well,
yeah.
A question for you guys.
Okay.
I'm pursuing a master's in business analytics. Now, one question I would like to ask is, from the point of making all this big data a sustainable thing in the future, you yourself mentioned it's a big problem of homelessness in Los Angeles. So the data that you get about the growth in homelessness, whom are you feeding that data so they can address that problem? Because that has to be solved finally, because you need people to buy things rather than just living on doles, right?
Yeah. So right now, I am the point of contact for a lot of the teams within the city infrastructure that are tackling the problem. So they will literally come to my office, we'll sit down, we'll talk about their needs, and we'll find properties. As we roll this out, we will be creating that type of pathway for dialogue with community organizations so they can sit down and use the public portal to make those decisions. One way we're actively doing this also is we identify like 15 properties that can be quickly disposed of to generate the revenue needed to fund some of the homelessness efforts.
I was wondering if there's a chance to test the data, like how accurately is your data out in your team or something?
Because there's no, so we know we have the cleanest data of any data set. How it compares to the 100% truth, we don't really know that. We just don't know. So we're slowly working our way to where we can make some better kind of understanding of where our gaps are, but we know we have the most complete data. The margin of error, we don't know yet. Yes. Ma'am in the back. Data.lacity.org and GeoHub are not open source. They do publish a lot of stuff to GitHub, but they're not open source. But they are publicly available, meaning you can extract all that data, you can create real-time feeds. So as a student, I would highly encourage you to go and get comfortable with open data portals. Again, they run on Socrata and Esri technology, which is not open source. I have not seen, I've seen cities do data validation through GitHub, meaning publishing their data sets and allowing the community to put in requests or commit, and then they will commit the changes. But that's as far as it goes, as far as I've seen. Yes, sir?
What kind of back-end infrastructure is it? Like, how much space and space? It's all on-prem or?
It's all hosted by the vendor, so it doesn't eat up any out of our server space, and there were some requirements, but it's pretty light, and the permanent system that we're moving on to, that will also be hosted by the vendor. The city as a whole is moving towards Amazon Web Services or go-to hosting service, but this is really light.
How much data are you
Memory-wise, I don't know. I know it houses probably like 15 tables with around 12,000 records, and then there's around 150 megs of shape files. I saw a few other hands. Anybody? 1 minute, last question?
Where do you feed the shape files?
What are the what?
Where do you feed the shape files?
And they go from the GeoHub into the back end of eProperty Plus and into the front-facing portal. And right now that was an export of a shapefile and then imported. The next iteration will be a direct API feed so that as things change in the shapefile, they're reflected in the system. Cool? I think that's your time. Thank you all. I'll be hanging out, so if you have any additional questions, also add Juan on Twitter. I respond. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
So up next, we will have Mr. Said Balupi, the director at EMC Dell. He is a business leader with 20 years of broad experience in business and data analytics and telecom industry. Today, he will explain how business leaders can get over the learning curve in advanced analytics. Welcome.
All right. Can everyone hear me okay? Cool.